Apple's AirPods aren't just a set of convenient Bluetooth headphones, they're a full-on millennial status symbol, and I suspect not even the company expected these things to get big the way they did. A sequel was inevitable, and now we've got them. These are Apple's second-generation AirPods, and while they might look and fit the same as the ones we've had for years now, they pack a handful of subtle improvements inside these tiny white shells. I don't want to bury the lead here, but for me at least, the old AirPods sounded good enough, but their convenience alone made them worth the asking price. Now that the AirPods have gotten a little more polish, they're more worth it for iOS fans than ever. But what if you already have AirPods? Well, let's dig in. We'll talk about the new H1 chipset and improved wireless performance in a bit, but I really think we need to discuss audio quality first. And that's because right now there is a bit of a debate raging in certain corners of the internet about whether or not these new AirPods sound any different than the old ones. I'm going out on a limb here, but personally, I have found that these new AirPods produce sound that feels ever so slightly louder and more full than the originals. If you're anything like me, you'll notice it more in songs with persistent bass, though I have to say, there have definitely been times where I haven't noticed a difference at all. When I gave these to other people to try in a sort of blind taste test, though, some people actually thought the original one sounded better. All Apple will say is that both versions of the AirPods feature the same great sound, and the fact that none of us can decide which version sounds better supports that. If there are any differences here, they're so subtle that I really don't think you should base your purchasing decision on those. Instead, Apple focused on making these new AirPods a little more convenient and polished than the originals. That's where the new H1 wireless chip comes in. It's a bit of custom-crafted silicon that's all about improved efficiency and wireless performance. In day-to-day use, to be fair, the differences are minor, but they are noticeable. If you're an existing AirPod user, you're already familiar with the telltale blonk that rings out when the AirPods connect to your phone. With these new models, you hear that blonk just a little faster than you would have before. The power of the H1 is more apparent if you're the kind of person who, like me, frequently switches between Apple devices. Let's say you want to switch from listening on your iPhone to your iPad. With the original AirPods, there's a gap of about 10 seconds from the moment you hit connect to the moment you hear that weird chime in your ear. Blonk. With the new AirPods, though, that delay is cut in half. And the same goes for when you switch the AirPods from an iOS device to a Mac and back. It took about 8 to 10 seconds for the old AirPods to switch that connection, compared to 4 to 5 seconds for the new ones. Apple also says the H1 makes for more stable wireless connections, but you probably won't notice much of a difference if you're just walking around with your AirPods in your ears and your phone in your pocket. Despite the fact that the new AirPods support Bluetooth 5, I haven't noticed any difference in wireless range. And I'm telling you, I set my phone down and walked clear across the office with both sets of AirPods, and they both crapped out from the same distance. The H1 chip means you can also talk to Siri more easily. These AirPods are always listening, so you don't have to fumble around in search of your phone the next time you need to ask Siri a question. Apple's virtual assistant also sounds noticeably more natural here too. With the originals, its voice kind of sounded tinny and compressed. And while I've been able to listen to music on these new AirPods for the same 5-ish hours that the originals were rated for, I've noticed a significant increase in how long you can use these to talk on the phone. Not that anyone really does that anyway, right? Oh, and assuming you're okay to shell out just a little more cash, you can also get these new AirPods with a wireless charging case. There's really not much to say here, folks. It works as advertised, and being able to charge them with the back of a Galaxy S10 will never not be fun. That said, I'm not the kind of person who has wireless charging pads all over my apartment, so the $40 premium over the standard AirPod 2s doesn't really feel worth it for me. Of course, if you've embraced that fully wireless lifestyle, then this wireless charging case might be just what you've been waiting for this whole time. So ultimately, yes, these AirPods are distinctly better than the ones you might already be familiar with, but maybe not in the ways you were hoping. If you already have a set of AirPods and their batteries are still doing okay, you can put your wallet away and just rest easy knowing you're not missing out on that much. But if you're an iPhone or an iPad user who has been waiting to take a plunge on the AirPods, there's really no question here. These are just about the most convenient wireless earbuds you'll ever use. If simplicity and seamless use mean more to you than anything else, then these are, well, they're a must-own.